spirit. The other is crazy. So you better warp to the safe spot!
Welcome back, Capsuleer, let's go.
Warp to the safe spot! Warp to the safe spot!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Safe Spot. I am your host, Rixx Javix, and tonight with me is my co-host,
CrazyKinux.
There he is, the crazy Canadian, CK, as
Absolutely.
we like to call him. How's things been going, CK, since last time?
Amazing. Enjoying the game and discovering, or rediscovering, should I say, new layers to it. And I'm, blown away every time I sort of scratch a little corner of New Eden and try to understand an aspect of it. And then, lo and behold, there's this rabbit hole again in front of me, and I turn around and there's a slew of them. It's just the number of layers and the number of corners and the number of ways this game allows you to evolve in it is mind-blowing. And there's so much to do, so many ways of doing it, so many aspects of it where you think you're playing the game, and no, you're just playing one aspect of it, and other players are doing a bunch of other things, and then you read it upon it. So yeah, I'm still in the off phase. Will that last? I don't know. I think it will for quite some time, but for now, I've sort of started looking into exploration. I've been doing a lot of enforcer mission type, security type mission, and then sort of decided that it might be a good idea for me to learn the basics of exploration, cloaking, and all that good stuff. That might come useful when I go into or get into PvP. For now, I'm just a big old Care Bear who's dabbling into PvE, having fun. I have to say though, digging into the mechanics of the game, trying to understand the fittings and all. So yeah, lots happening, lots of things that I'm exploring, and I'm putting together blog posts around that. I've got one that's coming out on sort of a glossary of EVE, veteran player talk, terms that they use, terms that we use, I should say, as I get back into the game and trying to understand that. I'd like to talk overview with you. You're probably some sort of whiz veteran player when it comes to setting up an overview. I'm still using the default. I know. Yep. I should not. But yeah, shorts. Sorry for the long answer. Basically, I'm having a blast, man.
No, I'm glad. One of the things when I brought up the waveforms on the last recording, I was like, hey, I think I talked way too much. So I determined in myself this week that I wasn't going to crowd and interrupt. So I just let you go. Let CK talk. I tend to get super excited and emotional about it when we start talking about Eve, so I can run off at the mouth quite a bit. But that's
both
great.
Do.
Yeah, did you when you came back, did you just come back, or did you go through the new play? Did you start fresh? Did you go through the new player stuff, or did you just pick up your...
Yeah, I picked up. So I created the character CrazyKinux, separate, like split at Crazy and Kinux. Created this whole background around it, Caldari player who was sort of a miner, and some stuff happened to him. I think it was the Galante. It was the background story. So I picked him up. I had created him a while back, so he had some sort of skill base.
Okay, all right.
Not a fresh newbie character. I still have the old, my oldest character, Trinara Mazuk, who has way more skill points than Crazy at at this point. I'm not training her anymore, or that character anymore,
Right.
because that character was focused on, mining and hauling and whatnot, and that's not what I sort of want to get into. I want to sort of discover a whole new aspect of the game.
Right.
So I didn't go through the new player experience, but I did start to look into the what is it called? The air.
Yep. The air program.
Air program.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Look
good
into
stuff.
that. Look into the mission. Start to understand. That's how I got my cormorant. And then same thing for when I got into exploration. I ran a couple of missions, and then boom, here you go, a heron.
Right.
Have fun.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's where I am, and I got days, weeks of skill training in the queue, and I'm just looking at ships and then fittings, and then what do I need to train to get to be able to fly those, go from Tech 1 to Tech 2, that sort of thing. That's where
probably took a while
that's where I picked up.
Probably took a while to figure out what they were giving you every time you jumped 3 jumps. You started getting the opportunities and everything. You're starting to get free stuff, and you're like, what the heck is this? Another unit of monetary compensation.
Yeah, and then you get a ship, and then you go, oh, this is interesting. And then you sort of, put away the shiny toy you had in your hand, and you start looking at this one, and you go, okay, what do we need to train for this one? What modules? What what's the fitting? What's the best fitting?
You bought any ship skins with that income, or?
So you need to tell me how the hell ship skins work, because
I was wondering.
I got the Cormorant ship to work because I had the two AIs within the game, Aura and what's her other name? There's another one that sort of has a human form, and Aura is all impressed by it. But anyways, that got me through getting the skin, installing it, and getting it on the Cormorant. But then I try to do that with my Merlin, and I'm like, okay, I give up. I can't. So that's an aspect of the game that they haven't figured out how to make simple. So I am all ears, my friend. Okay. Tell me how to do that.
Do you have the skin in your hangar, or where is it? Did you bought for your Merlin?
I thought I did. At some point, there was a bunch of skins that I thought you got, but I don't think I have. So walk me through the whole process.
So it must have been applied. So if you don't have it, and you can go to your assets tab, in the Neocom, you have a personal asset, and you can type anything in there, and it'll tell you where it is in space. If it's not showing up, you can just type skin, and it'll show you all the skins that you have. But you have to have those. Those have to be not applied. So a skin is just an item that shows up in your hangar, in your items hangar. Until you apply it to your ship, and then it goes and lives in your fitting window. So if you open up your fitting window to your ship, there's different tabs, and one says personalization, and that is where you can apply Corp and Alliance logos to your ship, or if you've purchased those, or the next tab over is skins. That's where you can you'll scroll down, you'll see a list of skins that you have for that ship. Some ships you might have one skin for, some ships you may not even have bought a skin for yet. And some ships you might have 10 skins. And you can just click on those skins, and they will apply automatically to your ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to try that. I might come back to you off podcast.
Yeah, you'll find it's in the top left part of your ship fitting window.
Okay.
But yeah, if you don't know, then we could do screenshots and things like that. But it's pretty simple, really. The skins, it's not bad. You don't have to carry those around in your ship. You can just leave them in a hangar anywhere in New Eden, and then they can be applied remotely. So you don't have to carry them around.
Got it. Okay.
And risk losing them. Yeah, much like Plex now. So sadly for us, nobody carries Plex around on their ships anymore, which is a bummer.
And by for us, you mean
pirates?
Pirates.
Yeah. We're still hoping that someday. I said today we were camping a gate for a very specific reason, but it didn't happen, and so we were just passing the time. We were waiting for somebody, and we're just passing the time and making up things that we would like to see come through the gate. And I said, very specifically, a player who's been away from the game for about 2 years just came back, got in his Interon, and was like, I can't believe I left all this Plex here. I better put it in my ship and take it back to my home station. And I'm like, please let that be a thing that actually happens. So, but it didn't. It's just so mean. But yeah.
And that reminds me, it's probably, if you want to get into PvP, getting into a pirate corp is probably the fastest way to learn, like baptism by fire. Talk about that. Well, you get into it and you learn a lot, I guess, right?
And I think today, we're fortunate in some ways and unfortunate in others, but piracy is a thing that's going through a lot of transformation now because of the addition of the Garistas pirates, up where I live anyway, the whole piracy as part of faction warfare. So a lot of people who are in the pirate side, the insurgency side, consider themselves to be pirates. They're just part of it's just another faction in the faction warfare mechanic. So that's kind of a good way to get, sort of an intermediate way to move into, what we consider to be piracy. Other people would argue with us that we're not really pirates, but we like to think of ourselves as pirates.
Why is that?
Well, that's a pretty long, complicated conversation about it. A lot of people consider us just to be criminals or frigate PvPers, people who enjoy player versus player combat. So what exactly is piracy in the game? In my estimation, it is intent, mission, and purpose. Right. So our intent is to be pirates. Our purpose is to cause chaos and keep the empires out of LOSEC, to keep LOSEC from being under the sway of the 4 galactic empires, and then also, maintaining a criminal standing. So, like for myself, I've been -10 for over a decade now, easily. I don't even know, 15 years, 12 years, as long as Stay Frosted, that's 13 years this May. So before that, I was with the Tuskers for a year. So 14 years I've been -10 without a break.
Which basically means you can't show up in HiSec.
I can't show up in HiSec for any length of time. I certainly can't show up in HiSec with any criminal timers. Now, if I'm in a shuttle or something, I can sneak through HiSec. If I'm in a smaller ship, say cruiser or below, then I'm probably okay as long as I have certain line time speeds. If I can be shot freely while I'm in HiSec, obviously, because I'm a criminal. So if I do get caught or trapped or anything, I can be killed for free. Yeah, and also I can't dock. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that didn't used to be the case. I could dock my pod, but they changed that rule too. So yeah, HiSec's kind of a zero a place that I don't go very often.
No Jita for you.
No, that's why we have alts, right? But we got a little off the track there about piracy, but it is kind of a fascinating thing. I'm sure we'll touch base on it more later, but yeah, let's we'll cover piracy again more in depth at another time, I think. So why don't we take a moment here and thank everybody who's listened to the first episode, and also who were kind enough to leave some feedback. What have you heard? Have you heard from anybody who's listened to the first episode?
So on your YouTube channel, I was going to say on our YouTube channel, but it's yours. There is a Canadian mate, Canuck Down Under. So
wow, that's
he's
right.
Probably down in Australia. Gave us some positive feedback, enjoyed the show, and he was asking if this was eventually going to be available on Apple Podcasts. So thanks for the feedback, Canuck Down Under. And in terms of Apple Podcasts, I mean, we're taking baby steps here. We're just getting this show started. Eventually, we'll want it to be distributed or syndicated. I think is the term,
Yeah.
on various podcast platform. I leave that up to the pirates in terms of the technicalities of running this. I think we are right,
Yeah, well,
Rex?
what I was thinking is, we've admitted it, you're getting a new microphone and we're kind of finding our way and getting our feet under us as far as, how we do this and how you and I communicate back and forth. We're new at this too. So I thought it would be best to probably get, 3, 4, 5 episodes under our belt, start getting a rhythm going, right? And then see how it goes and how it feels. Getting it onto Spotify, uploading it, subscribing to that is not only a monetary investment, but also a time investment and everything. And I think we want to do it. Getting the RSS feed out to Apple Music and all the other platforms certainly is a goal. I think that will be where we end up. But I think that this is the right way to go. It's just not to dive in, 100%, but to take baby steps, right? And this is a journey. We're finding our way. I think we just want to make sure we're doing the best we can before we go pro.
Exactly. Absolutely. So, and it's also, for us to sort of, learn to swim, so baby steps,
Yeah,
learn
get
to sort
the
of
get the
paddle
bugs
into
out too.
Exactly. Get a better mic for myself. So eventually we'll get there. Reminds me of the good old days of Virgin Worlds, which was a hosting platform that I used for that other podcast that I did years and years ago with Proven.
Right.
So we'll get there. So some of the feedback that we got on Blue Sky, I used to be on Twitter. Now X sort of left
Right.
that when that became sort of a cesspool, focused on Blue Sky. The feedback that we've been getting has been very positive, and then they start to grow, and you grow an audience with that. So we'll continue. Episode 2 finally recording. We got lots more to talk about. So stay tuned, stay put. Please continue to share your comments, share your feedback. Let us know what you're interested in us discussing, and we'll make sure that we fit that in. Both Rixx and I are big talkers. We got lots to talk about, so having your ideas is always good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that feedback, they're listening and that they're getting something out of it. They have taken the time to think about what they would like to hear more of. So it means a lot.
Yeah, and the way that we're doing this is the same way. Anyways, for me, is the same way I'm sort of putting out blog posts. Is I'm putting out content that I would have liked to see as I'm getting into
Right.
game, which is Eve. So
Right.
What are the topics that I want to hear about? Well, overview and skins and missions and
Right.
PvP.
All the dirty details.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We think that others are as well interested in it. As much as there's this whole very complex game that is being played, corporations within alliances and all the politicking of these alliances and all this sort of happening in the background, the entry point to EVE Online and to New Eden is a small step as well. It's not this huge thing. It seems to be from the outside when you hear about it. But when you actually step into the game, load up the game, start your alpha character, create it, start running a couple of missions, that's relatively simple stuff. And then the layers start to peel off and start to come off, or the drapes start to be pulled away, and you see the complexity behind the game. So I'm trying to show that, and I think this podcast that you and I are doing has an aspect of it that sort of demystifies New Eden and EVE Online, as well as show some of its complexity, hints at various ways in which you can play it. I play it in a certain way, you play it in another way, and there's other players that play a completely different game. If you're into industry, if you're into the economy and whatnot. I mean, Eve, what's the app? Eve Guru, I think, in terms of markets and whatnot. So that's where we're going with this.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, part of Eve's, the reason why we love it so much is because of its complexity and how deep it is and how many layers there are and all the corners, the different parts of space, the different professions that you can do, how open-ended it is. And I think that for an outsider looking in, that seems incredibly intimidating. It's hard to encompass. It's hard to encompass for us. I've been playing for 20 years and I still find out things that I didn't know or had forgotten that I knew. That's another thing that happens a lot as you've been playing. You'll run into something that you knew 5 years ago, but you haven't used it in a long time. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, how did I do that? Or what is that? But I think the important thing, though, is that it isn't all that complex. When it's just you're stepping through the door for the first time. It's a pretty simple game, really, when it comes right down to it, as far as how you start and what you need to do. And by the time that you find yourself in a 400-man fleet bashing a structure in nullsec, that seems normal to you. You're not going to be doing that the first week that you start the game. That's not how that goes, and it's just a path that you find yourself on. And when you get to those complex parts, it just seems normal. All of a sudden, it feels like this is exactly where I should be.
Absolutely. It's funny a thought just popped into my mind. It reminds me of, for those of you who read science fiction, there's this series of novels from Stephen R. Donaldson. It's called The Gap into Conflict. And the first novel is The Real Story. And it's funny because it starts with a very short chapter and the chapter ends with, well, that's not really the real story. Let me tell you the real story. And then chapter 2 is like maybe 2 or 3 pages longer, and it tells you a whole different aspect of the story. And then finally in chapter 3 or 4, I think, is when you start diving into the actual book and you get the full story. Eve is a lot like that, I think. You've got that first sort of introduction to the game where you think you understand the game, and then something happens, you get potted by this pirate, you get into there's a whole different aspect of the game that you hadn't seen, and then layers start dropping and you see sort of the vastness of it all. And I think that, as you mentioned earlier, that's why this game is so fascinating. That's why this game pulls players like me who haven't been in the game for over 10 years. I sort of dipped into it a little bit after being away for a couple of years way back when. And now I go back into it. I'm rediscovering aspects of it I knew, and I'm discovering aspects of it that did not even exist at all way back when. And it's this complexity, this history that makes it this complex, which brings me to a question that I had for you, Rixx.
Oh, sure.
How did you get into piracy?
I think last episode I talked a lot about, or a little bit about being down in Providence and an alliance down there. And CVA had a war with AAA, a war that I helped start. It was a plan that we had to take some systems away against all authorities, which is what I mean when I say AAA. That's what we called them, who are our foes down there. And we had a huge war in DGTMI, which is was our home system in Providence at the time. And we lost the war, and CVA left Providence for the most part. LFA disbanded. Our corporation I was in at the time also disbanded for other reasons, but that's another story. I ended up joining a new corporation, and we moved to another part of nullsec, and we ended up in Syndicate. So all along, the goal was to become a really good pilot. Like that was the part of the game that really, really interested me was, and I think I mentioned that before, about finding out that everybody in space was a person sitting behind their computer. Mm-hmm. And this idea of competing against everybody else players. In the game, other players, really, really intrigued me. Getting good at combat, taking FC classes, leading fleets, becoming a FC. Those are all great. The thing that I didn't enjoy about that part of the game was being a member of a 400-man fleet. There were a couple of instances that really didn't sit well with me. ISK back in those days, and I'm talking about when I had, 14 million skill points, 25 million skill points, 30. These are early days. Making ISK and building up your bank was a struggle for a while there, but you'd take all your time, you'd fit up a ship, and then, you get in the fleet, you jump through a gate, and just by total random chance, you may be the third or fourth or fifth person that's blowing up, and your ship's gone, and you're 17 jumps away from home, and you get potted back and you can't join the fleet. So your fleet experience at that particular moment was pretty brief and uneventful, right? And then, so there's this huge fleet fight going on. You're not really a part of it because you've been kicked out. You got killed. Everything that you just spent your ISK on is gone. And again, I don't blame people who enjoy that type of content. And I did enjoy it for a long time, but there's just those kinds of things just kept happening. When we were in Syndicate, I started to, Angor and I, my son, and a few other people in the corp who were also PvP inclined, started to venture into low-sec a lot, see what that was all about. And we started engaging other pilots, and I started reading blogs and finding out about other people. We decided to start a corporation called Lucifer's Hammer, and we, based on a Larry Niven and Jerry Pernelli novel by the same name. We wanted to turn that into a PvP corporation for the alliance that we were in, and they said yes. And so we started recruiting. The first 4 people that we recruited were the most awesome people, the greatest players ever. They just came right in, fit in like a glove. It was like 6 or 8 of us in the corporation, and we all just kind of just hit it off. A couple of the other players had been in a corporation called New Renegades, which was a pirate corporation. A player that I call It's Me, he ended up being running Shadow Cartel for a while. These were people who had experience, really liked what we were doing and helped guide us. We left the Alliance because it was moving, and we decided to stay in Syndicate and joined Rote Capel, moved into LowSec. We didn't stay long in Rote Capel. We ended up forming our own alliance called Burnaway, and we recruited other corporations. We grew. And then a whole bunch of other real life stuff started to happen. And Lucifer's Hammer is still around. It's actually an industrial corporation in Abandoned Apart now. It lives in high sec, and those guys are doing great. It's a great corporation being run by, people who really care about it. It's in Abandoned Apart now. But Stay Frosty, Angor, and I were in Tuskers for a year. And this was a year that I wasn't really playing. It was when the agency closed. The divorce was really going full strength, and so I wasn't really playing a lot. When I started coming back to the game and playing more regularly, I was running into a lot of pushback from some of the players in Tuskers. Me and the CEO really didn't see eye to eye on many subjects, and I won't get into that because we ended up making up at FanFest one year, which was great. I'm glad we were able to settle our differences in person, which was really cool. Out. Yeah. And but we had a big drama, and I won't go into the details. That's a whole other story. It's very complicated, but we ended up forming
such as Eve.
Yeah. I ended up forming Stay Frosty and moved into the station next door to the Tusker station and started recruiting like a madman. We basically took anybody who wanted to join could join, and we grew to be like 300 people, 350, 400 people in a matter of months. It was insanity. It was really the wrong thing to do. Just inviting anybody into the corporation.
Yeah, because you end up with a bunch of people that don't necessarily work together. And
I mean,
how many are you today?
Just a little over 100. That seems to be our perfect spot.
At any given time when you log in, I guess you're 30, 40s, that sort of thing?
We're lucky on a weekend, but usually during the week, we're 10, 12, 15 of us on at any one time.
So would I be wrong to say that you've got the experience to be sort of a general, but you like to be on the field, front and center in the action?
I like being personally responsible for the things that's happening. I like
for the grief that you make people suffer.
It does. I like to be personally responsible for. Yeah, I have a couple of pilots who don't participate in the corp. Really, they just fly solo. Our tagline is, I really like this, it's solo together. So my philosophy is that we all need to be good at soloing. You need to stand on your own. You need to be able to engage in your fights. But we want to do that together. The way we do that together is very fascinating. And when I think everything is running smoothly and perfectly, this is how it goes. I'm out in, say, a ship, and I'm just going system to system, see what's going on. I see a couple frigates, engage them, I explode them. That's great. But then I'm going to another system and I see, let's just say, a Hyperion ratting in the belt. Well, I happen to be in a frigate. I'm probably not able to take on that Hyperion all by myself. So I just get on and I say, hey guys, there's a Hyperion in the belt. And all the other Stay Frosty people who are out doing their own all come together. They zoom over to where I'm at. We do it together. We take care of the Hyperion together. So that's what that really in practicality means. It's just a whole bunch of us out doing crazy pirate stuff on our own. Then when we run into something that we can't deal with on our own, or there's a tasty
something
target,
big and juicy.
do you want to share with your friends? You know, I mean, it might not even be a ship that you can't take on your own, but you might be like, well, I've never seen one of those out here before, so I would like to share that with my friends.
And you do that all in the safety of nullsec.
LowSec.
Okay, LowSec.
Primarily LowSec, sometimes nullsec. Primarily LowSec, low security space, faction warfare space is a really great place to seek targets because they're busy doing their own thing. They're busy fighting each other. We ruin that for them. Sometimes have plans that don't come to fruition because they don't have any ships anymore. So that's always fun. We all get along. Most of LowSec is very, not all the time, but very friendly. Honestly, today I probably 45 or 50 different systems in Eve today in the course of 2.5 hours. I bet you 25 or 30 people said hello to me in local. I had a person tell me how much they appreciated my YouTube channel. I had a person tell me that they were going to be purchasing a poster from my store on Etsy. I had somebody say they were going to listen to the podcast tonight when they got home from work. So yeah, it's I get a lot of attention when I fly in space, which is fine. You know, it comes with the territory. But so that's really what life in Eve looks like for me right now.
As a pirate, cool. It's
very comfortable.
It's funny,
I like it.
Yeah, I went through. I'm putting together like a fit for my Heron for exploration, and I'm buying rigs and modules and here and there. And so a lot of it, I actually had to go through a couple of LowSec systems.
Oh, nice.
And two of them, and I want you to tell me what this is because I could have researched this before, but I didn't have time before the podcast.
Triglavians.
So I had to go through two or three systems where they were infested. The system.
Right.
I didn't go through any trouble. Rope to zero, boom, get out, move to the next. Onto the next.
Were
system.
You in Pochfin, or are you just?
I'm not going to tell you where I am.
Okay.
Just,
you learned.
Just in case.
You learned.
I did. But just
so everybody's on the same page. One of my running jokes, I do this on Twitter, but everywhere, is when people are talking about what they're doing in the Eve, I always say, well, what system are you in? If they tell me, I say, you should never tell me where you are.
I did tell you earlier.
Are you familiar
today
with Pochfin at all? Do you know that?
No, I don't.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, let's say nine systems of New Eden got taken over by the Triglavians, and it's a new section of space called Pochfin. It is really, really a place you don't want to go unless you're really prepared for it, because it is a whole different kind of space there. It doesn't run by the same rules as the rest of space, and it's very dark, and the music is very dramatic, very threatening. It has special effects there, and it's crazy space. The people who live there are crazy, and I absolutely love it. It's fun to fly through and fun to have combat in. Yeah, it's not something that you would want to do if you were a young player.
Okay, so
scary
a couple of months. In a couple of months, I may knock on your door and ask you to remind me where.
Yeah, have you been in wormholes before, or are you familiar with wormholes?
No, I am not. I mean, I am. I know what wormholes are.
Oh, sure,
I know, which is one of the reasons why I'm getting into exploration, because that's one way of sort of learning how to get there. That's part of the missions and whatnot. So eventually, I'll understand. I'll be able to do whatever scanning.
Oh yeah, you're gonna need to get. Eve Scout has a set of bookmarks that you're going to want to subscribe to. So I'll have to let you know how to do that.
And there lies the beauty of the game.
Right, it's insane.
One rabbit hole that you can go into, and
just
we
opens
even
up a whole bunch.
Yeah, we even haven't scratched, the economy and whatnot, which is huge. Anyways, it's
I promise everyone,
it's
I
fun.
do know about Podfin. It's just that I was not prepared at all to talk about Podfin. It wasn't a subject that I thought was going to come up. So I wasn't prepared.
Speaking of not being prepared, I mean, we had this whole agenda for tonight.
Yeah, you wrote an outline, Crazy.
Yeah,
you wrote an outline.
That went out the door. That's gone. And maybe we'll try to get back on that track in episode 3. I think we've covered a lot of grounds today.
We seem to have talked a lot. I'm not sure did we do anything useful during this conversation. I think we did.
I don't know.
I don't know either. It just went by in a blur. Yeah. I can't believe how. Once you get started, it's hard to stop. One door opens and another door. I think maybe I ended up talking way too much this time too. Did I?
No.
Okay.
I think you shared the mic, the good mic, a little bit. But we do need to get on some sort of track and stick to it, because eventually I've got this idea on this podcast. We have this idea to invite folks over for quick interviews on what they're doing, that sort of thing. And in order to do that, you and I have got to learn to stay on topic.
We do. We need to tighten ourselves up here a little bit and learn how to read an agenda.
Absolutely. So you want to close this off, my friend?
I do, and I'm still searching for a great ending. And I think last time I also I told you this earlier. I was listening to it, over and over again, when I was doing the editing, and it sounded like I wasn't sure who I was at the beginning, which was funny enough to me. It made me chuckle. But then the whole ending, I just kind of, faded out to nothing. And I don't know. That's so weird. You said fly safe, which thank goodness you managed to say that. So it kind of saved us.
Well, if you want, I can do the intro for Rixx as an ending. How's that?
Oh, there you go.
If you've been around EVE Online long enough, you've heard the name Rixx Javix. He's a pirate, a storyteller.
He's just this guy,
a creator. Rixx isn't just someone who flies EVE. He makes things out of it. Art, video, stories, community projects. He spent years turning internet spaceships into culture, not just content. He's made the trip to EVE Fan Fest more times than players have resub, and he brings the same lived-in, unfiltered EVE energy in everything he creates. He doesn't play safe. He doesn't create safe, and that's why he's here, because he's the pirate.
Aw, that's awesome. Why did you wrote that as an intro?
I did.
Wow.
Messed up the ending there, my friend. Sorry about that. But that's who you are.
I'm going to have to write something like that for you now next time. That's pretty awesome.
Cheers, my friend.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And everyone, whatever you do, wherever you go inside of New Eden, just be sure to fly safe.
Fly safe, my friends.
Yeah. I see you in local, homie. On top. Check the fit. No links, no tricks. Let's go. Undocked drunk, whole half fit, vibes legit. Local scrolling fast like who's this idiot? No bait arts, no side, no bait. Just a scramble web and bad mistakes. P-scan clear, sun in my eyes. See you walking in and I respect the size. No HD snakes, no off-grid boost. Just raw dogs, subcat violence, trusting the truth. Heat on red, guns start barking, overview shaking, armor alarm sparking. I could've warped, I could've bounced, but I stayed on grid, cause that's what counts. Good fight. Type it in low when the ship go boom. Good fight. Win or lose, we did it right. Good fight. Good fight. No bad phone, no surprise, just you, me, and random pride. No neutral loggy, no falcon cloak, no oops, my friend, just bridge the joke. I see your ship, you see mine. Let's let the fit decide. Roll the dice, you fly clean, I fly loud. Two bad pilots making mom proud. Cap running dry, drones all dead. Still mashing F1 with the voices in my head. No implants worth more than a hole. No wait, hold on, stalling bull. If I die, I die. Express, screenshot the wreck, laugh at the mess. No links, no lies. No links, no lies. No good fight with the side eye. No salt, no tears. Just explosions and cheers. No, I didn't need that ship anyway, bro. Good fight. Say it loud when the structure's gone. Good fight. From the first lock to the final spawn. Good fight. Hull low, hands high. If you ran from that grid, that's your choice, not mine. my rifters. Somebody's losing, somebody's richer. Pirate code, written in stone. Just don't be a dick, carved in the bone. If you bait with friends, that's your game. But don't be shocked when I don't say your name. I want the rush, the burn, the blast. Not a 10-man drop for a frigate's ass. You want honor? Cool, let's clash. You want content? To smash that warp and don't look back.